Hey, what's up, Freedom Fighters? We're back with another episode of The Sideshow, episode number 2.
Poo-poo.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about a little bit of freedom, but this particular show, is going to be more behind the scenes. Kind of like where the idea came from. So basically, this is going to be a Johnny Doe interview.
Oh, ooh, yeah. I'm on the spot right now.
You are on the spot, sir. So I was approached by Johnny to come on the show because we have similar ideology. Yeah. Johnny, when did you first get interested in libertarianism? Not so much libertarianism, but what's going on with our government?
I would say when I was growing up as a kid, I always was into firearms. And I always paid attention to the laws, and I figured out how government is always trying to limit. I heard back in the day that they were always trying to get our guns, and at the time you're like, yeah, even as a kid. Right. Yeah, not gonna happen. You're like, not really. I don't buy it. And then you slowly see these laws keep going and unfolding and growing. And that was when I first started to kind of pay attention when I was a kid. Right. I would say then I got into punk rock a lot, and then kind of went a little more towards the leftist a little bit. But always still stayed with the firearms. Always loved them and just didn't want no one to fuck with my freedom. Right. Yeah. Then basically after 9/11 happened, I was like, I need to see what's going on. And I started listening, and I didn't really care too much what the Democrats were saying at the time. And I got on board with the whole conservative kind of point of view. I grew up in a Christian background, so it was easy to relate to the conservatives, basically. It was a little easier. But I like how the punk rock always kept my mind open, always don't trust the government, don't this. And then as a kid with the guns, it was kind of don't trust the government. So as it kept going, I supported everything that the Bush administration was doing in the war on terror. And then I found out they were pushing the Patriot Act. Right. And I was like, how can these conservatives keep saying freedom this, freedom that, liberty this, and liberty that, and they're spying on us. Right. They're controlling us. They're starting new government agencies. They're talking about small government and all that whole end of it, with the economy and everything, keeping your hand out of it. They're doing bailouts. They're doing all these things. All these things are popping off in my mind this is not right. Right, red flags everywhere, yeah. Right? So at that point, I started to turn towards, I started hearing bits and pieces of Ron Paul and his son Rand Paul, and I started picking up on the libertarian angle from there. That would be where I started this journey. Right. Okay, so during that time, I remember the Patriot Act coming out. Yeah. And my first thought was, okay, so we're trying to fight these terrorists. We don't know who they are, where they are, or what they're up to. The boogeyman. Right, boogeyman. Yeah. And then they come out with this Patriot Act, and it has nothing to do with it's more about spying on us. Right. So giving the government more rights to do shit to us. Right. So during that time, I really was like, wait a minute, there's something going on here, something fishy. Yeah. And that was... They're basically fucked the Fourth Amendment up the ass. Right. Yeah. Due process, for those of you who don't know. Yeah. Okay, hashtag look it up. So, explain to us the libertarian angle. My view is or just the libertarian angle, just kind of in general. In general. The libertarians believe that government should not infringe on our freedom. They believe that you guide yourself by the non-aggression principle, where you do not do harm to anyone, and if someone does harm to you, you have every right to defend yourself. Right. And that's pretty much where the majority of it is. They all are pro free market capitalist. They believe in free market or voluntary exchange, self-governance overall. Even the ones that are more where I'm at is more of the anarcho-capitalist. So a lot of them will believe more in the government has no business to do that. It's just a big tent, just like it is with the conservatives or the Republicans or the Democrats.
Right.
You have different variations of it, where I'm more on the extreme of it. The regular libertarians, they do believe in small government, and they do want, and I can get on board with that for the time being. I'm
limited
definitely,
government.
I'm definitely supporting the Constitution. I mean, that's the best thing we have to guide ourselves, and I'm very thankful for the men and women that have fought for what we have at this current point.
Right.
Even though it is snowballing into a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Large government bullshit.
Definitely need to limit the power of the government.
Yeah.
Not only the power of the government, the power of the president. I think we need to get rid of the Fed and go back to more of a
absolute taxation is theft.
More of a person-to-person exchange rather than big government being involved in that.
Yeah.
So what was the
also real quick free market capitalism, big time.
Yeah, free market.
Just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
Yeah, it's zero government interference in our transactions, our everyday transactions. So if we want to do business, we do it person to person. Okay, so
mano y mano.
Where did the idea for Grim 86 Freedom First podcast come from?
It's a little classified. A little bit.
A little classified.
So we got this little Grim Reaper guy that we like, and 86 is basically basing it off of 86ing people from an establishment. The Freedom First part is definitely the most important part. Freedom first.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much where he got it. Me and my friend that you guys know on the podcast, Kenny.
Kenny, what's up, Kenny?
AKA Blackula. We both kind of were going to start a company together, and we were going to name it similar to this. And we said, you know what, let's just start a podcast right now while we're trying to still figure out what we want to do. And that's kind of how it kind of got created.
Right.
Kind of, sort of, pretty much, for the most part. And when we originally talked about it, we were like, what are we going to do a podcast about? We didn't even know. And then we're like, well, we always talk about freedom and all this shit, and this is what we're about. Like, let's do it. But let's have fun doing it, you know?
Right. And we do have fun doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's some.
Don't take it so seriously. Like, a lot of the things that we always talk about, you know, like, sometimes we're wrong. We'll even watch it back, we're a little off. But always look it up. You know what I mean? Always look up what we're talking about. Like, any subject.
Yeah, don't take our word for it. We say that in our podcast. It's important that you guys out there do the research and learn for yourselves. So if you get into a debate with somebody, or if you want to change somebody's mind, the best way to do that is to have to believe in the information that you have.
Yeah, know what you're talking about and why you believe what you believe, pretty much.
So what are some of the guiding principles in your life, Johnny?
Well, absolutely what I just named, pretty much. Non-aggression principle, definitely that. Voluntary transactions between everyone, and voluntary, not being forced to do anything.
Right.
Definitely those things. I love the free market. Think that's like a great thing to judge it upon. I got into some Zen and Buddhism style stuff. Not necessarily the religion end of it, but more just like the thought process.
Yeah, the principles, right?
Yeah, how you work your mind and wrap it around different situations.
Yeah. Like, for example, like being present.
In the moment.
Yeah,
being present in the moment, yeah.
Right.
Also, definitely look into... what was it? Objectivism. I started to get into that just recently with Ayn Rand, which they all fit. They all fit together.
Right.
Pretty much. Ultimately, get your emotions. We say it on the show. Get your emotions out of your politics, out of your decisions in life. Make rational decisions. Try to do the best you can. I'm by no means, nor is Chris, perfect, but we always try to make those right calls and do it morally. Yeah. I guess is the way you would say, the right frame of mind as well.
Well, have good principles in your life. Yeah. Follow those principles. And what do you think is the greatest principle? I mean, if you had to name something, if it was like I don't know, like be kind, be faithful, what thing is probably, would you say?
I would think between two things. I think it mainly is do not initiate force against anyone.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
You can always defend yourself. You can always do all that. But I mean, I'm not really about just going out and fighting someone or something like that, or having another person come and attack me, or a government pushing their force upon you.
Right.
Like, taxation is theft. It is all government, by definition, is force. So that's where I stand a little bit apart from most of you guys on the podcast. I can't get behind it. It's a right and wrong. To me, it's a black and white issue. It's not a gray area. So that's kind of where I come from with it. So I would say non-aggression is definitely number one.
Right.
And number two, real close to that, is it's going to sound funny, but being selfish. Now, I don't mean it to be in a way of like, oh, I'm going to hoard all this stuff and I'm not going to, or whatever it is, or take advantage of a situation or whatever. But, it is, for me, at the end of the day, it is all about you. People come and go in your life. Relationships come and go in your life. It's kind of with taking your emotions out of it, this goes together, be selfish.
Right.
It's a weird way. I mean, you got to kind of think about it for a minute, but it's true. You're doing the best for you and your maybe if you have kids or your spouse or your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. I mean, you're going to do it selfishly. Even in your relationship, you're going to have it's a selfish decision to be in that relationship on both of you guys' ends. Right.
As far as like, well, I mean, it's like the exchange of information and ideas. They may not how can I say this? They may not always come from a loving place, more from a place of, I need this from you, and you need this from me, so let's do it together.
Sure. It's I mean, like, if you really love that person and whatever it is, it's selfish. That's a selfish act,
it's a selfish act.
So that's a good, like, little definition of kind of what I'm talking about.
That kind of goes into, so you mentioned
objectivism.
Ayn Rand. In objectivism.
She talks about this too. You guys can look that up. She goes way in depth on that stuff about relationships and being selfish.
Right.
So it's a different way of looking at it. It's another one of those things where if you've never heard of taxation is theft or end the Fed or any of that stuff, you'll any of the things that we talk about on the show, it'll be another one to look up. So Ayn Rand, objectivism, and being selfish. Look up any of those things.
Right. Yeah.
On that.
Check them out. Ayn Rand is
an author.
She was
and a philosopher.
She wrote a couple books, right?
Yeah, more than a couple.
Yeah. Well, the main one. The main one was
Atlas Shrugged.
Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, and The Fountainhead are the main ones.
Yeah, and you could also find her on YouTube.
There's tons of interviews that are really great.
Yeah.
Check them out. They're really good.
Yeah. Okay, so coming to a head, like everything in your life, from the point of you beginning to understand politics to right now, what is your goal for Grim 86 Freedom First podcast?
So first off, I like to say is I hate fucking politics.
Right.
So for me, originally, I did like them. When I first got into the conservative angle of it and the Republicans and all that garbage, I was interested in it. And I knew, like, you could ask me any story that was going on in the day or the month or the year, and I would tell you everything about it and what my take was on it.
Right.
At this current point, I know, like, half of what's going on because I don't care anymore. I'm living by philosophy, not ideology.
Yeah, you're talking about the identity politics.
Sure. Oh, yeah, which we try to always step over.
Right.
The bigger picture instead of just the micro issue that we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So I tried to go with that. What was your question? Where do I see this go?
What do you see in the future for Grim 86 Freedom First?
Pretty much spreading the word of freedom. Giving people information, even the people that aren't going to bite onto it as much as we do. We're still showing them and teaching them new things. We talked about Monsanto. A lot of people didn't know about that. The Federal Reserve, taxation is theft, a bunch of different things, right? So we get into depth into those things. So for one, spreading information and knowledge, right? So that's like the biggest thing that I feel like the future needs is to have everyone, our species basically, like start learning instead of being programmed.
Right. Instead of
which is being fed at you every single day from the media, the schools, everything.
So educating yourself.
Yeah.
Leaving the indoctrination behind.
Sure, just like self-governance, self-education, man.
Right.
You gotta go out there and do that. I would say is always learn your principles, know why you believe them, know everything about what you're talking about, but always keep that open mind at the same time to know if someone's saying something that makes sense and they're making a valid point, that you go, okay, now I got to question what I was just saying. Right. And I got to go now research it or look into it or at least play the mind game to figure out how to wrap my head around that issue or whatever the statement is that they made, right?
Right.
So always keep an open mind.
always an open mind.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. Same with your porn. Keep an open mind with that shit.
Yeah, you just never know what you're gonna like.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Some weird stuff pops up every once in a while. I swear I didn't search for it.
So,
yeah, the next question. Yes, I was in a band, quite a few bands.
You're a punk rocker, obviously.
Oh well, yeah, but I mean, I was in like some hardcore bands and rapcore bands back in the '90s,
right?
And then I got into some rockabilly and got into some psychobilly stuff, and then some horror punk. So I'm like into some punk rock shit. And my last band, and I'm trying to reboot that band too, by the way. Is Jane Doe's Crypt. So like the dead body Jane Doe. It's Jane Doe's Crypt, and that's where I got my name from, Johnny Doe. So it's a stage name, and it's a play off of John Doe body, dead body. So that's where I got that.
There it is.
Yeah.
Right on.
So there. To answer your question.
Yeah. So what bands were you in, John? What would you like to see people get out of our podcast?
Freedom. Just question shit. Don't take things at face value. Don't listen to anyone, including us. Just take your emotions out of your decisions in your life as much as you can. I mean, don't starve yourself if you're in love with someone or whatever, but make rational decisions.
Right.
You know what I mean about it. Don't base them upon that emotion only, or if you're very angry or very sad or very happy or in love or whatever. Try to take your emotions out of everything, always.
Right. Kind of like it goes back to the non-aggression principle, like do no harm. So
yeah, well, that would be to do no harm to yourself, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I guess
even to put others in a situation where you're gonna put you do things to other people to put yourself in a negative situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just to think about all these different angles that we are coming at, where you're not hearing it from a lot of other places. It's just different school of thought.
Yeah.
You know, spreading the word of freedom. I want a freedom revolution. That's ultimately what I want.
What is the future look like to you?
Ooh, it's hard to say.
What would be your utopia then?
Freedom. Like basically where private people can interact with each other and don't have any like government forcing anyone. That we're a long way off. It won't be in our lifetimes. There's no way. But as long as we start pushing this forward, we can keep stepping closer and closer to that. We can use the limited amount of government and get that scope like tightened down on like that target,
right?
And just keep working from there. I mean, I feel like when we reach that target of the smallest minor like little bit of government, that at that final point when we get there, then we can advance from there and keep going. We should be, I mean, in my opinion, we should just always be pressing for bettering ourselves.
Less government.
Less government, absolutely. But I mean, like innovations, technology, the health issues and everything that everyone has, the food. I mean, there's any kind of thing that you want to bring up, it's going to have some kind of government interference in some way, shape, or form with crony capitalism or government control of some sort.
Right. Too much.
And I want it out. I don't want any of it.
So,
and we can't have any of that unless we have people that do base their lives upon a non-aggression principle and a good moral, like, core fiber. And pretty much everything I do believe in does come down to the non-aggression principle and your property rights, ultimately. They all interact together because you can explain with the voluntary, the capitalism, all these things. You can all explain how they all interact with the non-aggression principle.
What kind of government would you? I mean, because we're going to have some form of government, whether it's gigantic or, smaller. What kind of government could you see working for the people for free people?
Are you talking about in the utopia, or are you talking?
Yeah.
No, I don't agree with that statement at all.
No.
Or that question. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
So
no, we don't need any fucking government.
So no government.
Zero.
So completely self-governing.
Sure.
So when I walk out the door, there's no police gonna.
Yeah, if you walked out the door, hopefully you'd have a gun on your hip and you'd have an armored vehicle that flies.
Word.
Yeah, we don't need roads where we're going.
How will we pay for the roads?
Yeah, fuck it. We don't need to.
So okay,
we have flying cars, bro.
So you're Innovation.
Yeah. Well, I want that little Jetsons house that's like floating up here in space, and
that comes back to free market capitalism.
Except for instead of Rosie, that robot, like I'd want like the sex bot.
Sex
She
bot?
could be in the maid outfit. I'm good with that.
Right.
But I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah, thigh stockings.
Johnny's Utopia, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So free market capitalism could create a lot of this stuff.
Could create it all.
How do we move away from from
government's interventions and stuff? It's just the same thing that I was just saying. I mean, basically, we have to keep shrinking the government, getting it out, get down to that more 1776 style, that what we were intended to be,
right?
And then from there, with the technology and information that we have currently, where I don't know if this would even be possible in that time, right?
Right.
Where now that we have the information that we do, you guys have it at your fingertips on your phones and your computers at home. I mean, with the knowledge that's out there, like people could definitely advance and be able to deal with that kind of freedom. I have faith in the humans. They can fucking do this.
Right.
It's just when we're conditioned and turn into sheep, it's not going to happen. If you guys are all like being taught by fucking the system, and you all are listening to the media and everything out there, I mean, there's no way you're going to advance. You're just going to, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for different results, right?
Well, it hasn't changed in 200 years, so.
Yeah, well, longer than that, really. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, I mean, I have faith in in mankind.
Me too. I believe that with the right leadership, people. I mean, and it's not the kind of leadership where somebody's making rules for everybody. It's somebody guiding us.
Yeah.
Somebody who lives the principle, the non-aggression principle, who lives the life of freedom.
Yeah, you don't need, I mean, basically, if you think about it this way, Chris, is you don't need leaders if you're self-governing.
Right. Yeah, no, we just need an example of somebody who for me, I would need an example of somebody who's living a free life.
Well, anyone that has a cool moral code, a good moral code, and is not hurting anyone or doing anything like majority of the people,
right?
They already are doing that. They're actually working within the system because they don't want to get in trouble, right?
Right.
But majority of them are not going to go out there and kill, rape, steal. They're not going to go out and do all that. So most people aren't.
Right.
So, I mean, it's basically you just do unto others as you'd wish be done unto you, right? So, I mean, like, that's basic concept of non-aggression principle.
Do you feel like you live a pretty free life?
I do. I don't give a fuck. Zero fucks given.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, so yeah.
Well, we do. Yeah. Johnny and I definitely.
We ain't going out killing people.
Yeah.
We ain't going doing none of that. We ain't stealing from people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we do pretty much just do what we do.
Yeah.
Right? Most people do. Most people do
right,
do
every
what
day,
they
right?
just do.
Yeah. It's the micro laws that we.
People need another thing is people need to have more, and I lack this too, and I'm trying to focus on it a lot, is discipline. People need a lot more discipline. They need more fortitude, and they need to just push through and I don't know, work out, fucking research shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? They need to. There's so many angles,
and those aren't bad things. Those are all
be approaching
things that better your life.
Yeah. Get up and make your bed.
Right. Big one.
Get up, work out. Get up and do whatever it is you got to do around the house.
Right.
Go to work. Get there on time. Get there early. If you're on time, you're late, and if you're a couple minutes early, you're perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just do that when you're at work. Work as hard as you can. Do the best you can. If you don't like that job, fuck it. Just keep working as best you can. Make the best example as you can, and look for another job at the same time.
Make the best of your situation.
Yeah, always. And that's being a good fucking human.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. Well, thank you, Johnny. I wanted to say thank you
ambush there
for sitting in with me, doing a little interview.
So my turn-ons. All right, the rockabilly, fucking punk rocker look, you know.
Right.
Fishnet stockings are a plus. Like, that's definitely awesome. Or any thigh high. Fucking, I'm not going to be racist.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why be racist?
Leave the racism out of it.
Yeah. Real boobs or fake boobs are cool.
Whatever.
Just saying.
They got real skin on them,
sure.
right? Oh, okay.
I feel like I just kind of did a wrap-up a little bit there.
Yeah, I think we did.
It was a little weird, huh?
Yeah.
But there was no assholes. They're optional.
We missed them.
Yeah, they're optional, though.
They're there.
Sure. I ain't prejudiced. I'm just watching Chris's reaction right now. Yeah, let's see what else. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see. I love tiki shit. I love tikis. like any Hawaiian kind of like tiki art. Love the 1950s like houses. Like people didn't know that about me. I like the fucking architecture on them.
Right.
Eichler Homes is one of the builders that makes cool ass homes like that. Love hot rods and custom cars and shit
Who's your
like
favorite
that.
band?
That would be impossible to answer. That would be completely impossible to answer.
Well, name some of the bands you like the most.
I love Misfits a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe that would be a good one just to say. But I mean, yeah, there's way too many. The Damned is another one. But yeah, I like a lot of punk. I like a lot of other styles too. But I mean, like that's like kind of my core that I really like.
What is the style you enjoy the most
of music?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or even style of punk.
It would be basically be between rockabilly, old country, and I'm talking 1950s country,
right,
or punk rock or psychobilly. It would be, I kind of fluctuate between those. I mean, I go into reggae, I go into all the other stuff too, but I mean, like that's like pretty much rockabilly and punk is kind of the thing that I like the most.
Right.
Yeah, I'm really into that. I was a greaser for a bunch of years. I was in a little car club for a while. I like that stuff a lot, that whole culture, the greaser culture thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun time doing that. I met a lot of cool people during that time too.
Wait, like what years were that?
Early 2000s, like maybe 99 through the early 2000s.
Right.
Is when I was really into that.
Cool.
I was in a Dead Boys car club. That's pretty cool.
Dead Boys, huh?
Yeah.
There's
a band called Dead Boys too. They're a cool punk rock band.
So you talked about your own band.
Yeah.
What style of music were you guys playing?
Well, it was we did back in the real early days. It was like hardcore, and then it went into this like rapcore thing, like all the kids were doing at the time. It was like a popular thing.
Yeah,
I always listened to punk, but that was what I was kind of like. Right. It was like my side thing that I was into, and all my friends really liked it, so it was cool. Then I got into punk rock. I did a punk rock band, and then I did a couple rockabilly bands, or like kind of psychobilly. And then the last band, like I said, Jane Doe's Crypt. That was it was pretty cool. It was just a horror like based, like all the songs were like stories about different horror movies or made up horror. And yeah, it was just a punk rock band kind of thing, kind of poppy punk kind of thing. Yeah, a little hardcore in there too.
We got to get some of your music on here.
Yeah, I have a page on Facebook. It's a Jane Doe's Crypt on Facebook.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just some live cuts that we did. Actually, we didn't record them like in a studio. We recorded them for ourselves to practice. And when we broke up the very first time, we only did twice. But the first time, we just put it out there. We're like, fuck it, put it out there. A couple songs.
Oh, here's what I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
So you and Kenny originally talked about the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. When did Jamie come in?
I contacted Jamie because I knew he did a podcast before.
Okay.
So that was when I talked to Kenny, and then I was like, yeah, we'll figure this out. And then let me reach out to Jamie. I'm sure he's down to do that. He's mentioned before that he likes that stuff, and he's done it before and whatever. And then I want to say about a week after that, I was like, we should get one more guy. That'd be kind of cool to have like kind of almost like a panel of guys.
Right.
And then I was like, yeah, maybe we should ask fucking Chris. He kind of likes a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, I hate commies.
Yeah, sure.
So what was the conversation like with you and Jamie when you first asked
when I talked to Jamie, it was just like, hey, you want to do this podcast? We're going to do it about freedom and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And he's like, yeah, cool. I mean, I'll be more the guy to run it or whatever. I'm all, no, I want you on the show. He always downplays, too, that he's not like a part of the show and he's just there to run it and that the screen will go black if he's not here, which we know is also false. But he's part of the show. We
actually want him here.
Yeah, I want him here. Yeah, and he's a young budding libertarian right now, and he was independent, and he had a couple things that I've talked to him in the past out at the bars and wherever the hell I was hanging out with him, and certain issues I could see his change in the few years that I've known him. That like he was already changing, and then since he came on the podcast, is like, whoa, okay, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, it makes sense.
I think most people are libertarian. They just don't know it yet. They just don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, they don't know what it means, and I think the media likes to misconstrue what libertarians. are.
And getting back to that other point was just that a lot of people get caught up in I need, like what you were saying is I need to see an example, or I need to see this, or I need to see that to prove that we can function without a government.
Right.
Well, I mean, dude, history doesn't always have to repeat itself. It doesn't all the time. New things come out and new things happen, right? Let's push for the next step in our evolution as humans, right?
Right.
And I'm not necessarily meaning it like evolution in that sense, but as far as our politics, right? Like, and our mindset, like, why can't we advance? We should be floating in the stars, flying cars. We should be doing all these cool things. Cancer shouldn't even be around. I mean, we should be doing all these things instead of arguing about what country we're going to invade next to protect our freedom, even though we didn't have anything or they didn't have anything to do with us.
Right.
Yeah.
For some reason, we have a policy
intervention bullshit.
And I feel like our country has been stagnant for about 70 years. Like nothing is changing.
Yeah.
And even though we're having like this socialist revolution going on right now in our country, even that is a repeat of history. You know, you always have a free market or capitalist kind of a system. Once it reaches like the highest echelon of, you know, and the 1%ers come in, then you have this whole group of communists try to take over.
Well, see, for me, it's different. For me, I always look at it as it's government. It doesn't matter what the name is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's socialism, communism, democracy.
Like,
democracy is mob rule.
Yeah.
It's all the same shit.
Like socialism always follows capitalism.
Well, and look at democracy. It's now, you can look at all of our stuff, right? It's very close to socialism.
Well,
if not damn near, like very damn near.
Well, the only thing that really stops democracy from fully taking over is that we are a representative republic.
Sure, but I mean,
there's people between.
It's debatable.
Well, no, there are. I mean, so you can have a group of people vote for something, but if it's unconstitutional, then we have a buffer.
But I mean,
between that and
I mean, look at all the executive orders and look at all these laws that are passed that we don't even vote on.
Right.
And like, they're not going to be able to even hear all these things if we brought it to the Supreme Court, right?
Right.
There's no way. There's too many laws and too much shit. Look at the tax code. Look at the Patriot Act. Look at the healthcare bill. All that stuff. How are they going to even go through that whole thing?
Right.
They can't.
Right.
We have to pass the bill to find out what's inside it.
You know, it seems like there's only a handful of people who know exactly about that subject, and nobody knows anything else. You know, you get one group of people who make all these laws and rules, and they're like the experts on it, and nobody seems to know what the inner workings of it.
Yeah.
And it seems like every tax law that has ever passed is like that.
Yeah.
Or even every law.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically for the, you know, like for the podcast, I mean, ultimately it's just we want to spread the word of freedom. I do. I mean, that's the main thing I want. All I want is for everyone to start opening their mind and not letting people bully them or government bully you. Right. We don't need force. All government is force for me. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, it really comes down to individual responsibility.
Yeah, self-governance, right? Yeah.
Self-governance.
Yeah.
When you take responsibility, you don't harm people. You try to improve your community. Those are the things that's civility to me. Those are things that we need to be focused on, not the bigger picture. I mean, you have everything that's going on, like, you know, like trying to stop judges from coming in, trying to make everybody equal. I mean,
yeah, well, like, once again, that's why I don't really pay attention to a lot of this crap. Right. I just can't get behind any of it. And I question. I'm still in a battle for a lot of things in my own mind when it comes to politics and mindset and philosophy. I mean, I'm trying to justify certain things that are happening in the political spectrum, and it's like, it's not. I can't ever. It's always this gray area for me. Like, I always, we got to get this person. Why? Like, fuck it all. Like, we don't need this shit.
Yeah.
Like, let's have freedom and let's, like, start teaching people how to fucking grow vegetables. Let's teach people how to maintain their vehicles. Let's teach, like, and I don't mean it like in the sense of the government teaching you. I mean, like, the parents, the friends, everyone should step up. Go out and tell you, like, easy for you guys to do at home. go teach your friends how to do some stuff that they don't know how to do, and then find out if they know how to do something. Maybe you don't know how to sew and your friend does. You know how to shoot a firearm. Teach them. Swap swap information, man.
You know how to build a house, or you know plumbing, electrical.
It could be a trade. It could be anything. It could like learn how to do shit. I'm definitely into survival and prepping, and I think that that's another thing that is a very important thing for all you freedom fighters out there. Like, make yourself a little go bag,
but I mean, not just
have some preps at home.
Not just our freedom fighters, but everyday people. I mean,
mainly our freedom fighters.
Don't depend on.
I'm selfish, remember, so mainly our freedom fighters because I love you.
Don't depend on the government to save us.
Oh yeah, don't ever.
Some catastrophe.
Yeah, don't rely on government ever.
We can't. You have to be prepared at home.
Dude, look at every natural disaster that happens. Right? Look at Katrina, for example. Government wasn't in there for a long fucking time. Now, we are thankful that there was a lot of them that went in there, but there was also a lot of volunteers.
Right.
There was a lot of
Tons
volunteers.
Yeah. Tons of volunteers.
So I'm sure it would have been pretty much close to the same outcome.
The
government, for that matter, at that same exact time, the government will never take our guns, they say. No, they were going door to door, and they were confiscating firearms at that time when you need them the most.
Right, to protect yourself from looters. I mean, even now, like, there's fires going on in California, and they're busting people left and right.
Burn, baby, burn.
Yeah, we need to get rid of all the dead wood.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. It's sad. It is sad.
Yeah, we're in some trouble right now.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I feel like we always have been in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, well, it's California, so
I meant us, but whatever. No, that too.
That's another thing, man. There's so much going on in California. It's hard to live here.
Yeah,
it's hard to maintain something here.
They all, everyone's like, "Oh, California is so open-minded and open this and so free with this and that." No, they're not. There's more rules and laws than anywhere else. They control everything from your firearms to your vehicles to where you grow things and where you do. I mean, you can't do anything.
Right. It's nice to visit, but you don't want to live here.
Yes.
Oh man, so many taxes.
Oh yeah, on everything.
So many taxes.
Yeah.
What would be the first thing, if you could control government, what would be the first thing that you would do? What would be your
My gut reaction was to say abolish it, but I know that would be a major shit show.
Yeah.
What would be the first thing I would do?
Yeah.
I would definitely go after first all the different I would definitely go and audit everything and go through everything and figure where everything is actually going, and I would probably end the Federal Reserve first. So I'd be doing those two things at the same time.
So you would follow the money first.
Yeah, absolutely, because if you're not funding it, then you know what I mean? If there's no money coming in, they can't keep doing stuff, right?
Right.
So I'd start there, and then I would start cutting down different agencies and stuff. Like, look how many law enforcement agencies there are. They don't need that many.
No.
I mean, even if you're a minarchist, right, and you want the minimal amount of government, right?
Right.
Even if you just want that, or a conservative that wants really small government, like, you can get behind not having all these agencies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's what I would do, and I would, some of them you can condense some of it and get rid of some of the other people.
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous how many people are government employees. Like, basically, they're funded on theft.
Right. So they take from our pocket and give it to pretty much a transfer of wealth. They give it to their employees or government.
And immediately I would be pulling back all our troops from overseas, except for in the essential areas that you need to have them as reactionary forces. I wouldn't have any of this bullshit going on. I definitely want to have reactionary forces to protect any of our allies or stuff like that, and also rescue situations and things like that. I would keep them there, but not on the level that they are. There'd be definitely quick reaction forces. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
immediately.
What's the so I think the military is like 80% of our annual budget, right?
I don't think it's that high, but yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's up there. Imagine what we could do with all that. Give it back to the people that we took it from.
Yeah, imagine that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else you have to ask me? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. I was ambushed on this one, by the way. I had no idea I was going to interview.
This was a. I wanted to get in the mind of Mr. Doe here.
Yeah. Freedom is fuck, bruh.
Yeah. So it basically comes down to we want freedom for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what the show is about.
Yeah.
Is teaching people or giving people the.
I designed the set myself.
Yeah, Johnny did. Johnny does a lot of the work. He sets up. Now he's getting into editing. And,
yeah.
We spend a lot of time on show prep and ideas for the show. And so far it's been
fun. It's been an adventure, and it's kind of cool to see how it's kind of changed here and there. Or some shows are a little different than others, depending on the alcohol consumption. But it just depends.
It's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And
sometimes you'll have a one-off show. It's a little different because we're just having fun or whatever, or it's more serious or whatever.
Or now we're doing a side show. And,
sure.
And this is kind of what we envision.
Yeah, we're going to do shorts and short videos and stuff like that as well. Comedies and different things, too, we want to get into.
Yeah, this is I know I ambushed Johnny on this, but this is a long time planning. We've been trying to do this for a while. I know we talked about this at the very beginning, even before
we even did anything.
Yeah, before we put out our first show.
Yeah, so we want to start a freedom revolution. Get everyone's minds opened, and just remember, you always have to work with the government that you have right now as much as you have to. And let's shrink government. Let's get it down to a smaller size, and let's start promoting freedom. Let's try to let's advance. Let's move on to the stars. Let's look at a good, bright future. All the politicians today are all negative. And they always have bad things to say about each other. They all have bad outlooks on life and don't trust this and don't, whatever.
Yeah. It's too much of the
Let's be positive and let's move on. I mean, definitely don't trust your fucking leaders.
Let's start a fucking freedom revolution.
Down.
Show us how you enjoy your freedom. You like to go water skiing. You like to
stay out of
hiking.
The fucking water.
Yeah, don't.
Do not listen to this man.
No,
He's trying to get you killed right now.
It's your own freedom. So if you want to send us a video of a shark biting your fucking ass, then send it to us. But
shit.
I think that's a big thing is exercising your freedom, not just talking about it, but exercising.
So and then also, so you guys know this is a true story. I was out on the bay. I was fishing as a probably 12-year-old. Somewhere in there, 10, 12, something like that. And I caught a fucking shark about that big. It was either me or him. Yeah. I killed it.
You're here.
But then I used it to fertilize a garden.
Really?
Yeah. So I used it.
You didn't keep the jaw or anything like that?
I couldn't. I was too little.
Oh.
It was with neighbors or friends. Actually, they weren't neighbors. They're friends.
Wow.
Yeah. So see, it's a true story. I did my part.
So you killed that bastard, huh?
It was me or him, bro.
Hey, that's threat number 2.
That's some manly shit.
That's threat number 2. And that is some manly shit.
Yeah, killing sharks.
Yeah. Yeah, I went kayaking one time and saw an otter and I just about shit myself, dude.
Was that a shark? Fuck.
I'm getting off this.
Oh yeah, back in the day when I'd be in the ocean and stuff when I was uninformed. You'd get that little bump in underwater, and you'd be like, "Oh, fuck no!"
Seriously, I went to the beach with my wife a couple of weeks ago, and I did not want to even step foot in the fucking
because of our show, right?
No, because of our show, but at the same time, there was a video of a guy who got his out of nowhere. This fucking orca grabs him.
Oh, that's photoshopped.
Pulled him into the water. I don't care.
Yeah. He's right on the very, very shore.
Yeah.
And then it's photo. But I know what you're saying.
I don't care because that shit could happen.
Yeah. It's more likely that a white shark will just jump up out of the fucking water.
Oh, dude.
And rip your fucking head off.
Horrifying.
That's more realistic.
That's horror. Have you seen the previews for Megalodon?
Yeah, I have.
That's horrible. It's
totally. I'm not really into black sharks. The Megalodon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into those. I'm more into the white sharks.
I'm not even gonna go see it.
No, I mean it's too, for me. It's a little too big of a shark, so it's a little bit more, I don't know, sci-fi-ish.
Right.
It's not,
like what
Deep Blue Sea was.
I was gonna say that. Deep Blue Sea.
It was sci-fi-ish, but they were at least kind of in range of a little bit more real.
See, you guys are getting the background stories.
But I liked it. I liked Deep Blue Sea back in the day.
Why we don't go in the water?
Stay the fuck out of the water. I saw Jaws. Jaws was my first. Most people that hate sharks.
I went to Universal Studios a while.
Oh yeah, the ride.
Yeah, and then there's a fucking Jaws ride.
Jumps up and you're like, what the fuck?
That wasn't as scary.
No,
it wasn't so scary. What freaked me out the most is the dirty water that splashed all over me. God, that water is so filthy, dude.
Oh yeah. Imagine what's in that shit.
No.
Shit.
Stagnant water.
Shit.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
Shit.
Poo poo. Poo poo caca.
All right, D, let's wrap this up, man. Thank you guys for watching. Now we know a little bit more about Mr. Doe here. Maybe later on, it'll be reversed.
Maybe.
Or maybe we'll get Kenny in here. And
maybe we'll do a little reverse Minotaur.
Yeah, a little, what?
You weren't on that episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll have to go back and watch that one.
Episode 10.
I was on a little vacation.
Yeah, vacay.
Yeah, I was out of town. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. We are out of here. Remember, be kind to each other and don't trust the leaders. Peace.